If you're thinking about immigrating to Nova Scotia, this might be the most important video you watch all year. On July the 16th, the government of Nova Scotia quietly released an update that completely changes the game for anyone waiting to apply to its nominee program in 2025. They're receiving far more applications than they can possibly approve, and because of this, they've been forced to make some very tough decisions about who gets to the front of the line and who gets left behind. Applying to Nova Scotia Nominee Program or NSNP without understanding these new unwritten rules is like trying to navigate a maze blindfolded. You will waste your time, your money, and your hope. In the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a complete pre-application briefing. We will cover first the details of that critical July the 16th update and what it really means to you. Second, a deep dive into the most important strategic choice you will make, the faster express entry pathway versus the more accessible base PMP streams. Third, I'll break down the 4 key requirements: job offer, education, language, and funds for Nova Scotia's most important streams. And finally, I'll give you an insider's analysis of which streams actually have the best chance of getting you a nomination right now, based on the province's actions, not just their words. By the end of this video, you won't have just information, you'll actually have a framework to make a smart, strategic decision about your future. Let's begin. Hi, if you're new to my channel, I'm Bella. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and my job is to help aspiring immigrants like you develop a personalized strategy that makes your journey to Canada as simple and stress-free as possible. That's the work I do with my clients every day, and is the same guidance I'll be sharing with you right here. All right, let's get straight to the July the 16th update. The government has been very clear. The demand to immigrate to Nova Scotia is overwhelming their capacity. And because their nomination spots from the federal government are limited, they have been forced to prioritize. And here's the new hierarchy. This is what you need to know. Top priority is now given to people who are already living and working in Nova Scotia on a work permit that is set to expire in 2025. Within that group, they are given even more priority to people working in 2 specific sectors: healthcare and construction. So what does this mean if you're outside Canada? This is the most crucial part of the update. The province has stated that most applications from individuals living outside of Canada in non-priority sectors will not be processed at this time. Let me be very clear about what this means. Is a polite way of saying that your application will likely sit in a pile, untouched, for an infinite period of time. And for many people, the door to NSNP is for now effectively closed. This isn't just an administrative change, it's a profound strategic shift from recruitment to retention. Nova Scotia is protecting its investment in the people who are already here. Now, understanding that new reality brings us to the most important strategic decision you have to make before you even think about a specific stream. And that is the choice between the enhanced or express entry aligned pathway and a base PMP pathway. Think of it like choosing between a speedboat and a cargo ship. Both can get you to the destination of permanent residence, but they travel at very different speeds and are built for different types of passengers. The enhanced streams are the speedboat. To get you on board, you must first be eligible for the Federal Express Entry System. This means that you already qualify for programs like Federal Skilled Worker or Canadian Experience Class or Federal Skilled Trades. The huge advantage here is speed. If Nova Scotia nominates you through an enhanced stream, you get an extra 600 points on your CRS score, which basically guarantees that you will get an invitation to apply for PR. After that, the federal processing time is about 6 months. The base streams are the cargo ship. They are slower, but they can carry people who can't get on the speedboat. You don't need to be eligible for express entry to apply for a base stream. This is the pathway for many essential workers whose occupations might not meet a high skill threshold for express entry, like many roles in construction or healthcare support. The downside? After you get your provincial nomination, the federal processing for a base stream application usually takes about 18 to 24 months. So that's a year or more longer than a speedboat. So how do you choose? It's simple. Your first step should always be to check if you're eligible for express entry. If you are, you absolutely must create a profile. It keeps the door open to that faster pathway. If you're not eligible for express entry, then your entire focus must shift to the base streams and, crucially, securing a job offer in one of Nova Scotia's priority sectors. Hi, if you've got any value from this video so far, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. It will really help push my content to more people in your situation. And feel free to leave a comment or questions down below. Okay, you understand the new priorities and you know the difference between enhanced and base streams. Now let's look at the actual streams that matter most right now and the 4 big requirements for each. They are job offer, education, language, and financial proof. And stick with me because after this, I'm going to show you exactly how to figure out which of these streams the province is actually nominating people from, which is information that you probably wouldn't easily find elsewhere. First, let's look at the streams that are primarily driven by a job offer. These are mostly base streams. The skilled worker stream is a broad pathway. You need a full-time permanent job offer. For education, a high school diploma is minimum. For language, it's tiered. For higher skilled jobs, you need a CLB5, but for lower skilled jobs, it's a CLB4. And the language test is mandatory for those roles. For funds, you have to show that you can support your family, but the income from your job offer helps meet this. Then there's a critical construction worker pilot. This is top priority for Nova Scotia. You need a job offer in one of the 21 specific construction occupations. Education is a high school diploma or proof of construction-specific training. Language tests are mandatory for everyone with CLB5 for skilled trades and CLB4 for laborers. And you must prove that you have enough settlement funds. Now, what if you are already in Nova Scotia? The Nova Scotia Experience Express Entry stream is for you. This is an enhanced stream. The key here is that a job offer is not required to apply. Instead, you need 1 year of skilled work experience in Nova Scotia. For education, you need a high school diploma, and if your degree is from outside Canada, you definitely need an ECA report. Language requirements are higher here. CLB7 for professional jobs and CLB5 for skilled trades, and tests are mandatory. For funds, you need to meet the federal express entry requirement. And for recent graduates from Nova Scotian universities, there is the International Graduates and Demand stream. This is a base stream. You need a job offer in a specific field like healthcare support or early childhood education. Your education must be from a Nova Scotian institution and related to the job. A language test showing CLB5 is mandatory, and you must show you have settlement funds. Okay, so you know the streams and their requirements, but here is the million-dollar question. Which ones are actually leading to a nomination? The government doesn't publish a neat little chart with percentages for each stream, but as a professional in this field, my job is to analyze their actions because their actions tell us the real story. First, look at the program pauses. In April 2024, Nova Scotia paused applications for the entire accommodation and food services sector. What does this tell you? It tells you that the province is flooded with applications from that sector and has no more room. The chance of getting a nomination there right now is effectively zero. Second, look at what's new. The province created the critical construction worker pilot for a reason. They are desperate for workers in that field. In fact, nominations for construction occupations jumped by over 85% last year. When a province creates a special stream for your job, that is the strongest signal you can possibly get. Third, look at their priorities. As we discussed, they have told us that they are prioritizing healthcare, construction, and trucking. This means if you're in one of those fields, your application goes to the top of the pile. And finally, look at their targeted draws. Through the labor market priorities stream, Nova Scotia occasionally invites people directly from the express entry pool. These draws are a real-time snapshot of their most urgent needs. So, the realistic picture is this. Your chances of success are not equal across all streams. They're the highest if you are in construction, healthcare, or another targeted high-priority field. They are lowest if you are in a pause sector like food service, and you have to align your strategy with their reality. Now, before we get to the conclusion, there is one final critical piece of the puzzle that you must understand. It's a legal concept called intention to reside. So when you get a provincial nomination, you're making a promise to the province that you genuinely intend to live there. This is a legal requirement. Now, I know what you're thinking. The Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms gives permanent residents the right to live and work anywhere in Canada. And that is true, but that right doesn't give you permission to misrepresent yourself to get PR in the first place. If you use a Nova Scotia nomination as a backdoor to Canada, with the pre-planned intention of moving to Toronto or Vancouver the day after you land, you could be accused of misrepresentation later when you're renewing your PR card or applying for Canadian citizenship. And the penalty for that is severe. You could have your permanent residence revoked and be banned from Canada for 5 years. So what does this mean for you? It means that you need to take your commitment seriously. When you land, you should take real steps to establish your life in Nova Scotia. Get a health card, a driver's license, open a bank account, and work for your employer. If after a reasonable amount of time, say a year or two, your circumstances genuinely change and you have a compelling reason to move, that's a different story. But the initial intention must be genuine and you must be prepared to prove it with your actions. So let's bring all of this together. What this all means is that immigrating to Nova Scotia in 2025 is more competitive and more strategic than ever before. Success is no longer just about meeting the minimum criteria on a checklist. It's about understanding that the province is prioritizing people who are already here, especially in healthcare and construction. It's about making a smart choice between the fast express entry streams and the more accessible base streams. And it's about aligning your personal profile with the streams that the province is actively using to fill its most critical labor shortages. This is a complicated process. The rules are constantly changing, and as we've discussed, a single misstep, like misrepresenting your intention to reside, can have devastating consequences. This is where having a trusted guide and an advocate on your side can make all the difference. If you've watched this and you're feeling overwhelmed, or if you want to ensure that your application is positioned for the best chance of success, I invite you to connect with me. You can find the link to book a one-on-one consultation with me in the description and on my channel page. If you've made it this far to the video, thank you so much for your support. And if you get any value from this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe buttons because it will really help push my content to more people in your situation. And if you feel like this video would be helpful for somebody else, by all means, share it. If you have any comments or experience you would like to share, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.